Most women don't realize they're disconnected from their bodies until something goes wrong. Maybe the things you used to do to take care of your body just don't work anymore, or you get sick. Maybe you feel numb or shut down. You feel depressed or anxious. Or maybe life looks great on paper, but somehow you just feel off. And that's not because there's something wrong with you, and it's not just because you're getting older. These are symptoms of disembodiment. But the good news is that you are here watching this video, and you are also the keeper of your own body. So, coming back to the body is something that you can start doing right now. And in this video, I'm sharing 4 feminine embodiment practices that nobody is really talking about. I'm also going to talk about what feminine embodiment actually is and why so many women feel so disconnected. So, what even is embodiment? Embodiment means living with and through the body, not just from the mind. It's the ability to feel and sense your experience in real time, in the present moment. So you're attuned to your body signals, your needs, your emotions, and you let your body guide you instead of ignoring it or overriding it with your mind. Feminine embodiment is simply doing this in a female body. And for women, embodiment is also a deeper process of reclaiming the parts of you that you have had to shut down. Things like your intuition, your sensuality, your cyclical nature, the wisdom of your female body. But something that female embodiment is not is trying to be more feminine in a performative way. So I want to make the distinction between feminine energy, feminine embodiment, and femininity. Because there's a lot of people out here talking about feminine energy, how to be in your feminine, how to heal your feminine energy. And I know for a lot of women, these messages are a little bit confusing and can even be harmful. They certainly were for me because I was somebody that felt feminine. I look feminine by our culture's standards. And I was being told by dating coaches that I was in my masculine, and it was the reason why I was attracting the wrong men. That wasn't true at all. And what I know now is that so much of what's out there on the topic of feminine energy is not based on what feminine energy actually is. It's based on patriarchal femininity. All these specific behaviors that we have been conditioned to believe make us feminine. Things that make you a real woman, things that make you ladylike and make you more palatable to society. I have a whole other video on this topic that I'll link to in the description if you want to check it out. But these ideas don't make you more embodied. They actually take you out of your body and get you stuck in your head. They make you feel like you have to perform. Instagram and the media have also brainwashed us to believe that feminine embodiment looks a certain way, but it's absolutely not true. You don't need to look or act a certain way. You don't need to do certain things. Like I said, all you need for feminine embodiment is a female body. Once you feel safe enough to fully inhabit that body, whatever your most authentic, healthy, natural expression of feminine energy is, it will just flow naturally. The problem is that most of us were never taught how to live in our bodies. Most of us were actually taught the opposite. We were either explicitly taught or just modeled how to disconnect from our bodies. And on top of that, all of us have experienced some level of physical or emotional trauma, whether big or small, that required us to disconnect from our bodies, either to survive or just as a coping mechanism. We also live in a culture that prioritizes logic over feeling and productivity over rest. Women, especially, get this deep conditioning around our bodies. Our cycles, our sensitivity, our intuition, they're all shamed and pathologized. Our bodies are objectified and scrutinized. And unfortunately, a lot of us do this to ourselves daily when we're getting dressed or looking in the mirror or we're trying to decide what to eat, right? We are conditioned to prioritize others' comfort over our own needs. We're told that our emotions are too much and our sexuality or our desire is inappropriate, right? We must be desirable, but we can't have desires of our own. And so we disconnect. We disconnect from our bodies, from our needs, from our intuition, and from who we really are. And that disconnection becomes normalized. And it even becomes safer to our nervous system because to your nervous system, familiar equals safe. But just because it's normal doesn't mean it's natural, and it definitely doesn't mean it's healthy. It's just how we learn to adapt to our environment. The beautiful thing is that our body just keeps trying to communicate this to us all the time. She doesn't give up on us. She's always trying to get our attention and send us messages about what's going on in our body and in our inner world. Moment to moment, she's showing us what we need. But if you've been disconnected from your body for a very long time, it can be really uncomfortable to tune back in. It can be really overwhelming to start feeling your body again, start feeling the sensations and the emotions. But this is the missing piece. We are here on earth to experience life in a human body. So when we cut that off, we're missing out on a huge part of what it means to be alive. And that's why you feel like you're doing everything right, but you still aren't happy or fulfilled. It's like you've done everything you're supposed to do, checked all the boxes, and life still feels flat. Or you feel numb or depressed, or you're in chronic pain. You're living for other people, people pleasing, self sabotaging, always feeling like something is missing and it's never enough. That was my story too. For years, I looked like I had it all together and doing all the right things, but inside, I was completely disconnected. I was constantly overriding my body, over exercising, and obsessed with controlling my weight. I was dealing with chronic physical pain. I was numbing out with drugs and alcohol all the time. I was always trying to prove that I was enough. And I'm not here to say that I have it all figured out. There's still plenty of things that I struggle with. But the difference is that I don't abandon myself and my body anymore. I have a relationship with her rather than cutting her off when things get challenging. And learning to come back to my body has honestly been life changing. And I know it can change everything for you too. And these practices are not super complicated, they're not expensive, and they're not even really time consuming. The way we reconnect to the body is through very simple, consistent practice. It's simply noticing when we're disconnected and coming back to ourselves over and over and over again, and honoring what it really means to live in a female body. And this is where these 4 practices come in. So let's get into it. Our first feminine embodiment practice is to reconnect to the earth. We are not separate from nature. We are nature. And we call her Mother Nature, Mother Earth, for a reason. And whether we're conscious of it or not, we are all affected by the damage we are doing to the planet. And the disrespect we show the earth is mirrored in the way that we treat women and the way we feel as women living on this earth. Like, if you're tuned into your body, you will feel a certain kind of way when you think about the damage being done to the earth on a regular basis. And you will feel a certain kind of way when you think about Mother Nature going wild, right? Or if you've ever experienced a natural disaster like a hurricane or a wildfire or even like just a severe storm, The feeling you get from those things, it's almost like it's not yours, right? It's coming from the earth. Like you feel this power of the earth. Or another example could be the awe you feel when you're watching a beautiful sunset or when you see a beautiful natural landscape. It's that sense of mystery, right? Like, what is all of this? It's this energy, this aliveness. And that is feminine energy. Okay. So when you reconnect with the earth, you reconnect with your own nature and you remember how powerful you really are. And as a practice, this can be as simple as putting your bare feet in the grass or in the dirt, putting your hand on a tree trunk, or touching the leaves of a plant or a flower. It's looking up at the moon and stars every night. It's noticing the temperature of the air or the sun on your skin, the wind on your face or in the trees. It's noticing the color of the sky. It really doesn't take a lot, just these little moments of presence with the earth. Our second feminine embodiment practice is to do nothing. Yes, absolutely nothing. Most women disconnect from our bodies by staying busy, both mentally and physically. And a big part of that is how our society is structured and how little we value women and mothers and children. And in our culture, we've also been conditioned to believe that our worth is dependent on how productive we are. Most people genuinely believe that they have to earn rest, that they are lazy if they're not always doing something, or they feel guilty if they need rest. And in a lot of people, busyness is a trauma response, it's a coping mechanism. It's something we do to avoid feeling what's actually there. But doing nothing is especially important for the female body because women are not meant to be pushing and doing all of the time. We are cyclical by nature, which I'll talk more about in a minute. So just practice being still and letting your body rest when she asks for it. And I mean real rest, not we're not scrolling or numbing out with Netflix. We're not distracting ourselves. And if it's challenging for you to rest, just try 1 minute at a time and go from there. And just be a loving witness to whatever comes up when you rest without needing to change it in the moment. This is a really big part of building somatic safety and capacity in your nervous system and cultivating that trust between the body and the mind. There's a really great book on this topic called Rest is Resistance by Tricia Hersey. If rest is challenging for you, I highly recommend it. Our next feminine embodiment practice is to get in touch with your anger. And please don't skip this part, especially if you're thinking right now that you aren't angry or you don't feel anger. This one is probably going to be more important for you to hear. But women are taught that anger makes us dramatic. We're hysterical, we're irrational, we are crazy. Or we're told that our anger is covering up something else, like sadness or grief, right? But for many women, the opposite is actually true. We use hurt and sadness to cover up anger. And this makes perfect sense, right? For a lot of women, anger has been used against us as a way to control us or harm us. But anger by itself actually isn't good or bad. Like, this isn't a moral issue. Anger is simply information from your body. It tells you when something isn't right. It shows you what you care about and where your boundaries are. It tells you when you need to speak up about something. And the expression of anger doesn't need to be harmful to yourself or to others. And just entertaining the thought that anger is a healthy emotion might be really challenging for you right now. And that's totally okay. Honor where you're at with your relationship to anger and just get curious about it. So, anger itself isn't a problem, but the suppression of anger is. There's a lot of literature that links chronic health issues, specifically autoimmune conditions, to the suppression of anger. And statistics show that 80% of people with autoimmune disease are women. So when we look at that trend and when we think about what autoimmune disease actually is, feeling your anger is actually a very healthy thing to do. It's one of the most powerful and necessary feminine embodiment practices there is. And our last practice is to intimately get to know your menstrual cycle. Your menstrual cycle is a superpower. It will show you almost everything you need to know about everything happening in your life, your health, your energy levels, your emotions, your intuition, your boundaries, your desires. It's a gift that you have been given. But most of us have been conditioned to believe that it's a curse, right? It's a punishment. It's something to be ashamed of. But healing this menstrual shame and understanding your cyclical nature and living with the natural rhythms of your body is a huge missing piece to feminine embodiment, because ignoring and overriding this cyclical nature is a form of rejecting your body. And your body feels that, and she responds. So it is not a coincidence that reproductive issues are at crazy high rates all over the world. It's not a coincidence that women are dealing with PCOS and irregular periods and fertility issues and fibroids and severe menstrual pain. Just like we talked about in the first practice, the ways that women are treated have been oppressed, repressed, suppressed. It shows up in our bodies. And these things are not normal. This is our bodies screaming for attention. So, to practice this one, we need to learn how our body works. We need to learn about the different phases of the menstrual cycle and the different life cycles of a woman. If you live in a female body and you aren't currently bleeding, or you do have an irregular cycle, you can start following along with the phases of the moon. And if you are on the pill or other hormonal birth control, I would highly recommend making a plan to get off of it as soon as possible. If you do have to take the pill, please learn about its impact on your cycle, on your body, on your romantic relationships, and you can still sync up with the moon. So you'll want to bleed with the new moon. All right, so there are my top 4 feminine embodiment practices you can start using to reconnect with this incredible wisdom and power that has been gifted to you with your female body. I'd love to know which ones surprised you the most, which ones are you already doing, what questions do you have? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for being here with me. Please share this video with a woman that you love, and I'll see you in the next one.